Hi, welcome. This is Dr. Phyllis Edwards, Dr. E, speaking to you from The Widow Speaks. This is episode 7. We are really pleased and excited to bring you this program, and we hope that by you listening, it will change lives. In just a few minutes, we're going to speak to Gary Rice about how we might all look ahead and stay safe because in this changing world and in our changed lives, it's really critical. I do want to start every program by saying thank you to Flagler Voice. These people are amazing. It is truly something to watch how, God opens up doors, and there are a lot of great people in this world, and they have been very kind to host this because they see the value in it, and I'm really grateful. The programming, as you know, we have tried to step forward and think about what you might need to find yourself again and to help in your healing, at least a bit. Obviously, it's a huge and ever present loss that used to sustained. And again, we're all different. We all feel it at different times. And actually, there's most times we feel it all the time. But you're able to concentrate on something else or mask it. But the point is that there are a lot of areas in our lives that we probably need to get a hold of and think about things that maybe we haven't thought about before. If you have missed some episodes, I would encourage you to go back. You will find them on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, TikTok. Look for Flagler Voice, and then if you just scroll down, you will see current podcast, and then you'll see Widow Speak is there. We have done a lot so far, and in these last segments, we have been talking to experts, and I think that's very helpful because you might not be able to get out to a grief counselor or somebody that's going to talk to you about the legal issues or financial matters, but we've kind of found those people, and they've been gracious enough to agree. And in the next coming episodes, you will see and hear from them. um, I think it's great that people are stepping forward to help us and to help us meet our purpose. And I'm wondering too, as you listen to this, because one thing my mother always said to me, and that it was always true. When you're really having a hard time and you're suffering, probably the best thing you can do is go and see if you can give some attention or be a blessing to somebody else. And there's just a principle about that. It just seems to help. So now it's my honor to introduce to you a former police officer, and I believe he's going to tell us about that he was also the head of like a security division, Mr. Gary Rice. Gary is really a very interesting man. He's had a lot of different kinds of experiences, and actually, he can really take us into the inside places of things that we just don't know. And sometimes we just don't think about it because, like most people, we think nothing's ever going to happen to us. But in this new found life that we have, we can no longer rely on the fact that our husband is in our house or that he's waiting for us to come home. And if something happens, we can call him. It's just that doesn't happen anymore. So we're going to start talking about what are some of those things we should actually begin to think about. And first thing I want to ask you about, because this came to my mind, welcome, Gary,
Thank you.
routines. We all have our routines. And sometimes one of the things to get us out of, our doldrums is to have a routine. But what do you see in terms of safety with that?
Well, routines can be a tricky item. There's some things that we want to carry on our routine,
Hmm.
and then there's some things we want to break our routine.
Okay.
For instance, if you're working or you consistently go to church or something like that, don't take the same route
Mm.
each time. You know,
And we do.
unfortunately, there are professional criminals and scammers out there that literally watch the obituaries.
Hmm.
Once they have your name in today's world on the internet, it's so easy
Yeah.
to
Everything
track
is
you
out there.
down. Out of curiosity, a few years ago when I lost my stepfather, I put my mom's name in Google,
Mhm.
pulled right up with her address, her phone
Oh, wow.
number, and everything.
You're kidding me.
So I even went on and found out her political party.
Oh, wow.
So you can find out a lot of
Oh, my
things
goodness.
about people just on Google. So you want to break routines like that, taking the same routes. But then some of those other routines before your spouse passed away, did you have your porch light on until a certain time of night
Mm,
or things like that? Those are routines you want to keep. If you start
yeah.
changing that routine, that
Yeah.
lets others know
Something
that
changed.
something's changed here. I'm going to find out what's going on.
See, I would never have thought about that because you're setting up your whole new space, your whole new life, and it's clearly not the same. And whereas before you might have waited until a certain time when, your husband went to sleep and then everything shut down, now your timing's different, everything's different. So that's a good one. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah,
And
and there's still ways that you can keep that
yeah.
routine. Get timers for your lights and have them go out at the time that he generally went to bed. Even
Oh,
as far as a TV, I know at my house I can see my TV through my back patio door.
mhm.
You can set a timer on a TV to go off 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
You
So
can
some of
set a
those
timer on your
routines.
TV. Okay.
Yes.
You could do that. That's part of the problem. So first, before we go any further, I think it'd be good if you just gave everybody like a little history about the different things you've done. I know you've
I've
done a
done many
lot.
things. I went straight out of high school into law enforcement, was a deputy sheriff, was actually approached about supervising and security at a government facility back
Mhm.
during Desert Storm.
Wow.
Um, while there, I was a custom protection officer and actually took over the safety department of the factory itself,
Mm,
developed all their safety policies and everything, and made sure they were enforced. Um,
wow.
Including right down to some of their workman's comp cases, doing
Yeah.
investigations on those and
Right.
surveillances. After they lost their contract to another place, I went out into the retail world and spent many years supervising in retail management. And then I spent 10 years in ministry, and I am currently an ordained minister. So
You got the whole thing going on,
I've
don't you?
done a little bit of
I
everything.
wonder if some of that police work didn't also prepare you for the
Absolutely.
ministry. Like you saw
Absolutely.
another side to that.
Absolutely, especially starting at such a young age
Yeah.
and getting training at a top-notch facility and everything.
Well, now they could really look to you because I think there's a lot of places where it seems that the churches and places of worship are, and even I know as a school superintendent, life changed. I mean, you had to figure out how to, as they say, harden the target. And so I would think a lot of churches do that too,
Yep, absolutely.
and so having somebody like you. The other thing I know about Gary is that he's amazing with technology. So I don't know that he's ever had formal training in it, but this man looks up everything, finds out about it. Like, see, I don't even wanna look it up. That's part of my problem. I mean, I could learn it, but I just want it to work? I wanna push the button and have it work, which is very frustrating to a lot of people.
Takes a lot of
It's
patience, that's
it's
the
I don't
key.
that's not me, I don't have patience, so but in your just foray of your individual work with technology, like, so you master things like you just talked about, your Ring doorbell, those kinds of things, like you just said, keep your TV on timer. I know it's something I could go buy, blah, 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 but, what like, tell us about that kind of piece too, because you got safety on the streets, safety in your house, but you also have so much going on over the electronics and, you know, internet, and that it's really quite scary because there's a lot of scams going on.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing for everything, where it all starts, is always being aware of your surroundings. A surrounding includes being in your house. What's going on outside?
Mm,
That's where your doorbell camera comes into play. You can get outdoor security cameras. Um, I've got couple cameras inside my house, mainly to watch the dogs, but it also comes in handy if
Yeah,
I'm not home.
right.
I can peek in and
See
make
what's
sure
going on.
everything's settled at home.
So you would recommend that people get a Ring camera or something like that?
Some type of camera, you know, once again, and I know you've experienced this, when you suffer that loss,
Mhm.
you suffer an income also.
Sure.
And I know there's a lot of widows out there that can't afford the
Right,
plans
right.
for Ring and so forth. I don't carry those plans.
Mhm,
I've got the cameras and I've got my phone.
mhm.
I can look at that camera anytime. I can even set off a siren from
Right,
my phone
wherever you
to
are.
that camera wherever I'm at.
Right.
So there's still cheap ways that you can have security without putting out all those subscriptions and this and that.
Yeah, I can see where that's something that is very important, and, I think it's one of the first things that law enforcement kind of looks for, right?
Yeah.
Um, but certainly it is a deterrent, or why else would people, be doing it? And, so it's something I think that's a very, you know, good tip. So, one thing that I have to watch myself on is I have a big dog, and he's
Mhm.
loud, and he barks, and nobody seems to wanna come near my home or me when I'm walking him. But do you think a dog is a deterrent?
A dog can absolutely be a deterrent. I've always been one to have the big dogs that
Me too.
have that,
Yeah,
deep bark
yeah.
there that really helps.
But the little ones bark just as much, so at least it tells you something's going on.
Yeah, they do. Um, any type of deterrent,
Mhm,
a dog barking, even a dog visible from time to time. Even if you don't have a dog, if you have a fence,
mhm.
put up a beware of dog sign
Ah,
on your fence.
that's interesting.
That's a deterrent right there.
That's a good one. So things I need to take into consideration are, I'm the only one at home, so I walk my dog all the time, and I try to find places because he's not the most pleasant dog, to visitors, although he does like you. I've gotta walk him places where I'm not gonna be worried too much because, he's 85 pounds, and he could pull me down and has done so. So I really want to avoid that. But I have to think about now where I actually go and where I walk because and I do tend to take the same routes. I do tend to do things that I probably shouldn't do, but it's something that I probably need to think about.
Yeah, you should change up locations that you're
Locations.
walking. If you're going after dark, make sure it's a well-lit area.
Yeah.
At the same time, simple text or phone call to a friend or family member saying, I'm going to go take the dog and walk in this location for a little bit.
See, I never do that. That's a good I don't want to bother anybody. And I bet you that's how people feel that are in my position. You don't want to bother people, but it's like I said, if I used to go out, I knew Steve was, if I was gone too long, he was going to be like, where are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Do you need me to come get you? And that is just like a huge void in your life. So,
And that's the question I would present to you.
mhm.
Would you rather bother somebody or would you rather be safe?
It's a big question. 'Cause honestly, I don't like bothering people. I think I said the other day, it's like, you don't even wanna get stuff done in your house because you don't wanna ask people to do you a favor. On the other hand, you often don't want to have, like, strangers in your house. It's just you. And I've never really had a fear of people. In fact, one thing I was gonna ask you is I don't on my door at home, I don't have one of those little things, those little peepholes. So somebody ring the bell and I'll just with the dog, instead of opening the door, I'll open up my garage door. But now I'm starting to think about that because now I'm opening up the garage door, standing there, trying to find out what's going on. It could be anybody.
That's the importance of your doorbell camera. You can also talk to that individual
Uh-huh.
through the camera. Even if you're not home and somebody rings that doorbell, you can talk to them. They don't have to know you're not. You can say, tell them something simply,
And they don't have to know you're home either.
No, that's what I
'Cause
said.
that's what
They
I
don't
don't want
have to
that.
know whether you're home,
Okay,
whether
gotcha.
you're not home,
Mm.
you know,
Should you even open your door? No. Then you use your Ring
use your Ring doorbell
doorbell.
or video doorbell.
Mhm.
There's many brands out there, um, and simply talk to them through there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, I'm an older person, but I have been thinking, what about self-defense? What about classes for self-defense?
Classes
I
for
think
self-defense are
churches have them.
great. I was involved with a church that had a small group
Yeah,
that did self-defense training. Many of your law enforcement agencies from time to
yeah.
time
We'll
will
do that.
have classes. There's many private instructors out
Right.
there.
You don't
There's
wanna get
there's always something no matter what area you're at,
yeah.
there's something for
You could
defense
try to look
training.
at places like police departments and churches and community centers because they won't charge a whole bunch. And you might even plant the seed. Hey, how about having something like this for a group of people?
Mhm.
And I would be willing to try it out because I think the more you have, at least the more comfortable you feel. You don't want to be stuck and isolated in your house the whole time.
Right.
What about things like, I used to love to go shopping. I don't do it as much, but parking lots, even in the day, parking lots, garages, like what, again, be aware of your surroundings, but like what are the specifics you should look for?
Don't park way out away from everybody else. Make sure you're parked where there's a cluster of cars. You know there's gonna be people around. If you're out, way out the end of the parking lot with no other cars around, you're an open target.
Right. And we should look for places that are obviously if well lit,
Well lit, as close to the door as
close to,
possible.
right.
Um, Once again, back to your surroundings.
Mm,
When you go to a store, pay attention to the outside. Do they have cameras outside? Park in a spot to make sure you're in view of that
of the
camera.
camera. See, I would not have thought of that. Clearly,
I ran
haven't
into a
well,
situation. I parked outside a camera view one time and my
yeah.
truck got backed into.
Oh, wow.
And
I
no
knew that
way,
was
no way to tell.
oh my
So,
gosh.
so be aware of those kind of things also.
Okay. So, as I've been, going through this and I was kind of thinking about this before, to be honest with you. I saw this commercial on this thing called Berna. Can't believe I'm actually going to hold this up for you, but it's not a gun, okay? This is something different. So it's meant to incapacitate the person for quite a while so you could get away, but it's not meant to kill them. So for women, it's like so just holding it, it's like, okay, it's like a real gun. It looks like one. I mean, I'm kind of interested in finding out more about this, and I know we might have a little commercial or something that we could run, and either now or at the end, there's like these cartridges and things that you put in it. I know I'm not being very specific, but the commercial will be, and it's a they give you a user's manual and it comes with everything it needs to come with, but it feels pretty substantial. So it's something that I'm considering, but I don't know how everybody feels. A lot of people don't like, you know, weapons, but I don't know. What should we carry? Is there something we should carry?
I recommend everybody carry some pepper spray.
Pepper spray. Okay. And know how to do it.
Right.
Right. I mean,
And it's very
practice.
simple
Yeah.
to use. You know,
How about whistle things? Anything with a loud noise? Anything of
anything that
value?
makes a noise is good to carry to draw attention. In fact, for a lot of people,
That's enough.
the noisemaker is going to be the easiest thing
Uh-huh.
and the most reliable thing for them
Oh,
because unfortunately, you can run things through your mind all you want,
mm.
but until you're put into a
You don't know how you're
situation,
going to
you
react.
don't know how you'll react.
Boy, that
I
is very, very, very true.
going through
Hmm.
State Highway Patrol Academy, we were
Hmm.
put through simulated situations, and I watched a girl who was there training to be a police officer, when she got put in a certain situation with a passenger car pulling a gun out from behind her, she dropped to the ground and curled up in a ball.
She freaked, yeah. You don't know how
So
you're
we
gonna
don't know
react
how
on
we're gonna
anything.
react until we're put in that situation.
No, that's very true. Well, we're gonna definitely show you a video, a little commercial of this, and maybe you'll be interested as well. We'll probably do that at the end. Another thing, well, while we're on this weapon thing though, Gary, so clearly whether you decide that you want to do something like this or whatever, what if you wanted to go actually get a weapon, a real gun? Like you don't just go get the gun. What do you better be prepared if you're gonna have a gun. Is that the deal?
Absolutely, get the training,
Yeah, go get the
know how to
training.
use it.
But
Mhm.
you gotta have it up here too, right?
Yes, and that's why I mentioned you have to get whatever is most comfortable to you,
Mhm,
that's gonna be reliable to you.
mhm.
Some people absolutely refuse to fire a gun.
Right.
So they've gotta think, "Okay, what is my best defense mechanism that I can get?"
Because if you're not going to do it, then you're gonna open yourself up for, like,
Mhm.
just all these different worse things in some ways to happen, or although I don't know what worse like, the world is now, it's kinda scary, that's for sure. Um, what do you think about all these tech scams? Like, I get and I guess everybody gets these, like, on your phone. 24/7, you're getting hit up by something, and sometimes it's really, like, it looks really real. Or you'll get a phone call and they say they're from Amazon or they're from your bank or they're from what's the gist on that? Basically, I mean, don't answer what?
If it's coming through a text or an email and you're suspicious at all about it, don't respond. In fact, myself, I'll block and report it as spam.
Block it. Mhm.
Phone calls. Take control of that phone call. Don't let them control the phone call. Ask for their information. I need to think about this. Can I get your information so I can call you back when I
Mhm.
make a decision? If they're calling on behalf of, say, Amazon, call Amazon customer service,
But they never
verify.
call you. That's what they'll tell you. We never call you, right?
Right.
But they are so convincing. And then what happens is people get so embarrassed because, oh my God, I fell for it. And even on social media, like, so, you know, you don't have as much to do these days, or you're looking for conversation, or you're looking for just another human interaction, but you don't know if you're getting human interaction or you're getting somebody from who knows where, or it's a bot, or it's this or that. But they gather so much of your personal information, and you can really be taken that way.
Absolutely. You see it all the time where women have met men online and, the guy says, "Oh, I've gone through a rough
Yeah,
period and stuff.
right.
I'd really like to come and see you. Would you send me the money and I'll come and see you?" A- And
Wow.
unfortunately, people fall for that.
Yeah. They mean well. The the women have, you have a good heart. You don't want, somebody to be suffering, whatever, but you don't know who this person is. You don't know who's on the other end. I mean, you could take a picture from anywhere. I mean, clearly it's just not something that we need to be involved in, but I'll tell you what, it is, it does suck up your time, and you begin to think, "Oh wow, this is like this person seems to know what I'm going through," when they really don't. They're just hitting all the right buttons so that you think that, and then the next thing you know, you got to worry about your bank account. And the other thing I always thought was kind of unbelievable was when you'd be, something with your computer would happen, or you have to call a tech number, and like I saw them like take over your computer.
Mhm.
Like, okay, you could take over my computer where I have everything stored, and they do it with phones too. They take over phones. I was trying to do something with a subscription the other day and talking to somebody from who knows where. And, you know, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I said, no, I think I'm going to end the phone call. And they called me back. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, why? It just doesn't feel right to me. If it doesn't feel right to you, you got that hair standing up on the back of your neck, or it just something's in you telling you it doesn't feel right to you, it's not right. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And I mean, I seriously could have, because you know how it is. Everything now is on your phone. So anyway, we're getting ready to sign out and sign off. And I want to thank you and ask you, is there any other thing you think you want to just put out there? I mean, the surroundings seems to be.
Like I said, it all starts with your surroundings.
Okay.
That surroundings is not just your personal
Right.
space. Online, outside your home, when you're inside, everything
Everything you
is
think
a
about.
surrounding.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. You're going to see that little commercial. And just because I think this thing is pretty cool, and I'm really thinking about getting one, but you may not like the idea, but at least look at it. It's called Berna. And for now, we're going to remind you that Jesus is close to the brokenhearted. He sees the tears we cry, and he also promises us beauty for ashes. So we're going to watch the little commercial.
This episode is brought to you by Good Guys Firearm Accessories. Their gear gives you the edge you need. Get the top non-lethal self-defense with Byrna launchers. Reliable protection you can trust. Stop threats with kinetic or pepper rounds. No fire permits required in all states. Hey!